Hello, welcome to Hitchhiking Stars for another part of astrology. And today, Friday, the 12th of May, I'm going to be talking about the astrology for this week. So I always do Fridays astrological transits and how I can best work with them. So we're talking about the best potential. We're not talking about the, oh my gosh, this is going to be really bad and how can I deal with this? So we're talking about constructive astrology. What's the most empowering, beautiful outcome that this symbolism can have and in my life, basically, and how can I express that myself as well when it comes to a personal chart. Okay, so there are a couple of things this week really that we're going to be talking about. So I even made a little note there, but we're going to look at the charts. We're going to look at my screen as well. I have the charts there. But there are a couple of very exciting astrological aspects this week. So first, Mercury is turning direct. So after a wave of Mercury going backwards and us having to rethink something, etc., it's time to move forward. Second, Jupiter is moving to Taurus. That is a big one. That's every 12 years, basically, Jupiter spends time in Taurus. So last time, 12 years ago, where were you? What was going on in your life? Well, that's kind of bringing a little bit of that flavor of Jupiter and Taurus and what that might mean for you as well. So Jupiter and Taurus, we're definitely going to look into that. And the new moon. So there's a new moon coming as well. So we're basically on the last quarter today, exact. And until next week, we're going to be heading towards the new moon as well. So how can we work with all of this? What are the best potential for all of this? That's what we're going to be covering in this video. Now, before we go there, I really like to do a little catch up and to ask how you guys have been feeling, what's going on in your life as well. I always reply to comments. And if I haven't replied to any of your comments, just wave at me because something must have happened for me not to reply. And yeah, let me know what was going on for you. How was the eclipse? Last Friday, so exact 1 week ago, was the full moon eclipse in Scorpio. How did you feel? What was going on for you? I mean, for me, there was a lot of tiredness, a lot of need for rest and need for drinking a lot of water as well. I oftentimes find that drinking water really helps to flush it out when something is going on astrologically as well. And in the meantime as well, since the eclipse, I do feel like the energy has been lowering a little bit in terms the general energy. I mean, I don't mean like my personal energy. And obviously all of that needs to be taken into account, connected to your personal cycles as well, right? I mean, I'm on day 22nd or something, so I'm definitely going on a descent together with the lunar cycle, aligned with the lunar cycle. So when the new moon is there, I'm probably going to be getting my period. And so for me, there is a kind of a sense of the energies shift quite strongly with the lunar cycle there as well, because I'm aligned with it. But how about you? Let me know what happened to you. Did you have any big realizations during this eclipse? What was going on? I am at a new location again. So no wonder the name of my my thing is hitchhiking. Not that I keep hitchhiking, but I just keep shifting places a lot. I'm at a new location. This is in Cirencester Water Park in the United Kingdom. It is a natural reserve, which is really nice. I'm looking at some really beautiful lake as well. And the light might be funny because there's a really huge window behind me, and this whole room is basically made of window, which is really beautiful. I'm a big fan of big windows and high ceilings as well. Those are my two favorite things in a home, I guess. So I'm looking after a cat, and that's been wonderful. That's probably why I'm a little bit sniffly as well. I have a little bit of an allergy to cats. So without any delays, let's have a look at the chart. And please write down in the comments as well, what's going on with you. I mean, I definitely feel recovering from that eclipse energy. And for me, the eclipse was much more stressful a couple of days before than the day of the eclipse itself. I kind of decided to take a breather as well on the eclipse, to be honest. So here we are. This is the chart for the 12th of May, Friday today. And again, look at that 29-degree Jupiter in Aries. Is the last couple of days, you know, a few days of Jupiter being in Aries. And you Aries, make the most of it, especially you know, with late degrees in Aries. Next week, I'm going to post a video with Jupiter in the houses. So Jupiter in Taurus in particular in the houses, and go a little bit deeper into the meaning of this Jupiter in Taurus as well. I think it really needs a video in itself. So this one is meant to just prepare you for the week, okay? Just to give you a sense of navigation, how to navigate the week. But next week, on Monday, there will be something a lot more elaborate on this placement of this movement from Aries to Taurus. But anyhow, here we have that grand trine I talked about in the previous video as well. Remember, with Venus shifting into Cancer and trine to Saturn and to the South Node in Scorpio as well. So this sense of moving away from the past, and I think it's just a continuation from the energy of the eclipse and all the things that we had to let go and we had to leave behind when we crossed that door. You know, I kept using this metaphor of the gods of, you know, the gods that keep the doors of the eclipse season. They need you to leave something behind. You cannot cross that door without leaving something behind. So I think it's just a continuation of that process with this grand trine. And in particular, this trine between Venus and Saturn, I think, is very powerful one, very interesting one. Thinking that trines are connected with removal of obstacles. So it just accelerates some things, right? So I think both, you know, what Cancer and Pisces have in common, obviously, is the element. So we're talking about water element, which is about emotional connection, taking our emotions more seriously, sharing our emotions as well, you know, with a partner, with someone, with a dear friend, or, you know, so it could be a great position or a great transit for making it, for just, you know, for making peace with somebody, for forgiving somebody, for understanding, you know, you didn't mean to be mean, or vice versa, really. So that's a great thing about that trine. I also think if we move a day ahead, there you go, it's on Saturday that trine is going to be exact. And funny enough, or interesting enough, it will be also activated by the moon. So the moon will be in Pisces as well, will be conjoined that Saturn and trine that Venus. Now, for me, what's interesting of this configuration as well is being able to deepen your commitment. Okay, that's another thing that comes to my mind with that Venus Saturn, taking your love, you know, more seriously, sharing your vows, or, you know, something about reconnecting with a loved one in a more mature way, in a more serious way, you know. There's something quite beautiful about that trine, and the fact that moon is also in, you know, connecting with this placement. There's something about emotions there, and maturing emotions as well, perhaps. And there's also a nice dialogue between the moon and Venus when that aspect is happening. So there's an extra aspect I'm just throwing here. I didn't tell you I was going to talk about, but I just can't help. I just saw it, and I'm just thinking, heads up, this Saturday could be a great day to spend time with somebody, to, you know, to just make peace from whatever it is that the boat was rocking during the eclipse season. Okay, because the boat might have been rocked. Now, when we move forward, so Saturday is still there, Mercury's still retrograde, but here, boom, 15th of May, that's the day, that's the next aspect that I really wanted to talk about. That's Mercury turning direct, okay? So Mercury is a 5 degrees Taurus. Where is 5 degrees Taurus in your chart? That's something that you've been thinking and rethinking and not so sure about it. Well, this could be a realization of some kind. This could be an extra understanding in that area of your life, in that sort of scenario, in that situation, you know, and you might begin to feel more ready to communicate openly about it, okay? I think I've shared this a few times, and I really feel that very strongly. It's like, I am, you know, being an astrologer as well, like so many times I decided, or in the past, you know, I communicated something during Mercury retrograde and I changed my mind. It's almost like inevitably by the end, when Mercury turns direct again, we think things through. We sort of shift our perspective somehow. We decide that actually something else. So hold your horses. If you can still hold, from communicating or making an announcement, I think that could be really helpful. But just be aware that this is what's happening on the 15th of May. And again, that's something very known in the astrological world, that things, gadgets, might be a bit funny, things might not work so well, and that might be an irritable sort of day on that Monday the 15th. So beware, but also again, pay attention to any insight that might come to you, because this is the time when you begin to understand and you begin to see things clearly. Again, because there's an emphasis in Taurus, is about that Taurian element, is about the security in your life, is about stability in your life, money, values. I'm not going to stop talking about values. I think this is a key word, is extremely important, especially because of the emphasis in Taurus. We're learning about our values. We're having an opportunity to learn about our values. So if you haven't done yet, check the video I've done about North Node in Taurus, because it covers Taurus very thoroughly. It's not just about the North Node in Taurus for the eclipse, but in general, what the lessons with planets in Taurus might be, what they're reflecting, what are the different areas that we may be able to explore further and reintegrate in our lives and improve, take up a notch somehow, make it better somehow, make it more creative, make it work for us in a better way. But definitely values have the sort of key words there. Is it fulfilling your values? Is it according to your values, or is going against a set of core values? So this is a great time to think about that, rethink about that, prepare for communicating, for writing a letter, for making it public, etc. So that's definitely very important. Mercury is not too far from the North Node as well. So again, an interesting position there in terms of learning these lessons of Taurus, okay? These emphasis in this Taurian, like I've mentioned before. So have a look at that video, because I think you can get, there's a lot of like gold in there. There's a lot of precious information that might be used differently by each one of you, okay? So let's move on. Boom! That's Jupiter in Taurus. That's like the day and time in Bristol, England. I stopped trying to place my charts to the place I am, because I just keep moving. So I just leave it in Bristol because I like Bristol. Anyhow, so the 16th of May, Tuesday, that's when Jupiter moves into Taurus. Reminding you, I will be doing a video just about that, specifically what Jupiter in Taurus might mean, how to work with Jupiter in Taurus, and etc. The way I see is that Jupiter represents an opportunity, okay? I mean, every transit will represent an opportunity of some kind, but Jupiter in general represents a lucky opportunity, an opportunity to expand in some regard, in some area of your life, in some personal planet there in your chart as well. It can bring opportunities. Now you can do something with it, or you can overdo, or you can do nothing. Okay, overdoing, I think, with a Jupiter in Taurus would be overindulgence, would be overeating, over laziness or overindulgence, and in the five senses, sort of like what the Taurus kind of represents. But I think because the North Node is still in Taurus, it's like our last, sort of push towards learning stability, learning how to create a comfort zone. And I don't mean comfort zone in a sort of disempowering way, like comfort zone and you're there stuck in a rut. I'm talking about having a strong base from where you can act in your life, from where you can make decisions in your life as well. You make decisions based on your values, based on a sense of stability, rather than a crisis and a desperation, which would be the South Node in Scorpio right now, okay? So I think that Jupiter moving into Taurus will definitely give emphasis on everything Taurian, and whatever Taurus is in your chart, that's going to be very highlighted, and it will be bringing you potential opportunities. So Jupiter in the ninth house, brilliant time to travel, to meet foreigners, to start your higher education as well. You know, you've been thinking about that postgraduate, that's a great time to do. Jupiter on the ascendant to expand your sense of self-expression. Same with the sun, Jupiter on your sun. Expand limits. I was doing my hitchhiking trip and Jupiter was over my sun, actually. And I didn't pick that on purpose. It just sort of happened in that way. And definitely there was that sort of sense there in my life. I had a very Jupiterian partner when Jupiter was conjunction my Venus as well. And someone highly Sagittarian entered my life. And there was a lot of learning in that situation. So I think Jupiter definitely has a resonance with learning, with how we learn, what we learn. And so there is a sense of learning something in the house that Jupiter is prominent by transit, and giving you opportunities to learn, not only to learn, but to expand in that area, to make it better, to increase the flow. Jupiter being in Taurus as well, we'll be talking about anything earthy, right? We're talking about our relationship, you know, with the five senses, with the earthy world, with also our relationships to our bodies could be connected with Jupiter and Taurus. Also our values in general, but like relationship wise as well, because it's Venus ruled sign. So our relationships, our partnerships, do we share values with our partner? Or how's that? You know, how do you decide on what partnership to pursue or not? So you could bring expansion in that, but I think definitely money and finances as well, and material, you know, material goods, material valuables, the things that you value in terms of furniture, in terms of beauty, beautifying your place. That's Jupiter and Taurus in your fourth house, you know, buying art for your place or beautiful pottery. I see beautiful pottery very much connected with Taurus. So buying beautiful things to your house and somehow beautifying the place. Nature is another one that's very much under the spotlight as well, and being in nature. But again, like, I would really encourage you to look into that North Node video, because I'm really going into great detail of all the potentials for Taurus, you know, when we think about the best potentials rather than the shadows. All right, so that's what we think when we think about that Jupiter moving into Taurus. So do a little prayer, do a little ritual, you know. I certainly will be focusing more on work. Jupiter is transitioning my sixth house, so it's definitely connected to co-workers, working, and in that case, I guess my clients, you know, because they are like my co-workers, people that I work with, because I am obviously solo, work for my own things, you know. I'm self-employed pretty much. So Jupiter there will also form a grand trine with my natal Jupiter, my Mercury sun, and coming from the sixth house. So I'm definitely not only expecting, but planning to take a plunge and really make the most of these opportunities that might come my way in terms of work. My work is definitely picking up a lot more, like even before this shift. So there's something very valuable that's happening in terms of career for me and work and vocation, which I'm really loving it. And I can't wait for this Jupiter in Taurus so I can make the most of it. I can really help that process to go even further. It's like I'm sailing, you know, sailing a boat or whatever, and then the right wind is just about to come. So find out where that Jupiter is in your chart, because then you can find which kind of wind will be blowing your way, and so you can make the most of it and adjust your boat as well to make the most of it and really set sail, you know, and move ahead in your process and expand and grow. So with all of that said, and reminding you as well that for this week we have the last quarter, which is happening today. So we're really moving towards the new moon. That's a time of rest. Okay, that's a time of rest. That's a time of taking easy. That's a time of integrating that eclipse as well. So the intensity of the eclipse happened last Friday, but the energy is still there. So what we're doing now is that we're integrating these changes. We're being gentle with ourselves, right? That's another Taurian thing. We're being patient with our process as well. Patient, not impatient. I mean patient. Steady growth, etc. But really taking it easy. This is the week to take it easy. okay, with Mercury turning direct, and with that Jupiter as well. Just really be a bit like, oh, look at how many points in Taurus here. Boom. That's by Wednesday, the 17th. So great to take it slow. Take it slow. You know, notice to all of these Taurian things in your life, how you're working with them, what are you doing with it, what area of your life, what planets you have in it, and really crack this sort of Taurian code in your life. All right. And again, making sure that you rest. All right, making sure that you rest along the way. So the next point that I want to talk about, I mean, there is a trine between Mars and Neptune there as well this week. On Tuesday, exactly when Jupiter moves into Taurus, we have that Mars-Neptune trine. Yeah, that's a powerful trine there for like acting selflessly when it's healthy to do so, please. I don't mean sacrificing your own needs, but being able to give, to take an action that's, you know, giving to someone else. I think Taurian, Jupiter in Taurus and the abundance is also about being generous with your abundance. You know, when we have enough, we can give to others as well. You know, that's a healthy way to look at it, rather than just become a miser and accumulate more and more. Okay, so I think that's maybe the message there as well in that placement. Now, with that in mind, the next thing that will be happening is like the preparation there for this new moon. I mean, Mars will be coming to an opposition to Pluto, and this is something that's very important as well. Is a grand cross if you consider the nodes, and I certainly do, between Mars, Pluto, the North Node, the South Node, and Jupiter as well. This is a massively karmic placement, but I'm really not going to focus on that today because this is next Friday. And guess what? I'll be here next Friday and I'll be giving a whole video about that. What I wanted to say, showing the Friday chart to you, is that we're headed towards the new moon, and the new moon will be at 28 degrees Taurus. So next Friday, when I do my next video, I will be talking more about this new moon and the aspects and etc. But again, it's not only a huge emphasis in Taurus, but we also have a new moon in Taurus coming our way. So go back to that video about North Node in Taurus, have a look at all the characteristics in Taurus, pin that down in your life, in your chart. How do you relate to it? How do you express it? Are you comfortable with that? Are you uncomfortable with it? You know, how is it? Because this is what we're dealing with. So this is your assignment for this week, if I may be so bold, is to look into Taurus, deeply look into Taurus, see what that means to you, see how you work with it, because you're preparing yourself for this new moon and for, you know, I mean, not only for this new moon and setting intentions for a new cycle, but also for Jupiter in Taurus. All right. And Jupiter coming to conjoin that North Node as well. So, on that note, this is it. I am finished with my overview of this week. Powerful Taurian week. So let me know in the comments, how do you feel? Where do you have Taurus? How do you relate with Taurus in general? Do you get along with them? Do you feel difficult energy for you to express? And yeah, I mean, I love the comments, like I said before. I love the interactions. So please write a comment. I'll definitely reply. And I'll be seeing you all on Monday, reminding you that on Monday I'll be doing a video just about Jupiter in Taurus and Jupiter in Taurus in the houses as well. Okay, so until next Monday, have a wonderful weekend, you all.